Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Team List Edition, round 21 to NRL Supercoach off the bench. I'm your host, Ross, and tonight I'm joined by Timmy O. Welcome, Timmy.
Evening, Roscoe. Good to be here. As always, another exciting, thrilling, crazy team list day.
Yeah. Well, before we rip into it, I just wanted to say that I actually had the absolute pleasure yesterday of going down to the Sydney Children's Hospital at Randwick yesterday and donating $800 of our winnings from our multis to the Children's Hospital, which was muchly appreciated. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any photos or anything, but I got to receipt, and they're super happy. And boy, I felt good after doing it. You know, looking at those kids at the hospital. You know, mine have been in and out of there, nothing major, but seeing what those kids are going through and the life that they're living, I'm sure every bit counts. So again, thank you to Bluebet. Muchly appreciated. I sent Brett a copy of the thing yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, you couldn't have donated to a better cause." We were so close, this close to getting another one this week too. So, but yeah, I've got a feeling. Hopefully, we can at least get one or two more before the season finishes. And yeah, thanks again, guys, and to all the admin team, Dave, Guy, Timmy, Brad. Great work, guys. Let's just keep momentum going, and hopefully, we can win some more money.
Yeah, look, a massive shout out to Bluebet. They've been really good sponsors for us this year and helping us out, and then giving us the extra cash incentive each week and to try and help us pull our finger out and analyse things just that little bit further than Supercoach wise. So yeah, it's trying to pick an anytime try scorer in some of these games at the moment is not exactly the easiest thing to do. So, and then that's just in one game. So try and pick it across five. And the rules are that you can't have it in the same game. So it's great when you go, oh yeah, this team's playing that team and they're going to score 50. That's all well and good, but that covers one game. So yeah. You'd love to go, oh yeah, I'll put Toto in for one and Cleary in for one and Sorensen in for one, and you can all of a sudden you can just about put your house on 5 try scorers in a Penrith game. So unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But no, hats off again to Bluebet. They've been fantastic, and it couldn't have gone to a better cause.
Yeah.
All 5 of us on the show here, we're all fathers and have got kids. Some of us more kids than others. I think I've got just about more kids than all you guys put together. So. It's but yeah, we've all had our fair share of kids in hospital, and it's a fantastic cause.
Yeah, and you know, we're so lucky to get it too. I mean, for Fafita scoring that early in the game and then went off after 20 minutes, I just couldn't believe our luck. But it was meant to be, I think. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. All right, we'll go to the first game, which is the Broncos versus the Roosters. So for the Broncos, they get Flegler back from his foot injury. Palacia drops back to the bench. Dean Mariner comes in on the wing for suspended Jesse Arthurs. Brendan Pakura comes into the starting side to replace Mr. Kung Fu himself, Marty Cabell, after his little brain snap. Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking now. I think it was just a complete utter brain snap. He's not that sort of player that's intentionally going to go and hurt someone.
No.
Definitely not. So,
and that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing for Marty. Like he plays the game hard, but he's generally a fairly fair player. So yeah, look, it obviously was a bit of a brain snap. I really like the guy. I think he's been a great NRL player for a long time. He's obviously a really good guy to have around the Broncos and normally a fairly cool head. But yeah, just wasn't thinking the other night, obviously.
Yeah. And for the Roosters, Rick Radley comes back into the side starting at lock. So Nathan Brown goes back to the bench and Sua Wong drops out. Brendan Smith will start hooker again with Jake Turpin on the bench. Now, we might as well have a chat about this game. Who do you like for a purchase for this game? Now, I know Bruce Walsh is quite popular, but I'm not sort of sure with the Broncos draw. I think there's better options, but I really like Teddy. I'm really liking Teddy this week.
Yeah, look, I'm really glad that I held Teddy. Obviously, I'm a Broncos member. I'm not holding. No, I think it's going to be a really good game of footy. I'd be waiting sort of for the last minute to see if there's any team changes just to see which way to throw the chocolates, I guess. But yeah, look, at this stage, tipping Broncos in a tight one. But this really could go either way. I'm loving Teddy. I've held Teddy for ages. Brought him in midway through the buys, I think, and basically have held on ever since while other people have been contemplating dropping him. Look, obviously,
but hang on, you were quite contemplating selling him at one stage too.
Oh, absolutely was. I was going. I was going to sell him over Gutho, and then went, well, no. The money that I could save from Gutho meant that I could put a mid ranger up to a top scoring gun, and so that's the way that I went and held on to Teddy. Glad I did. It was after I basically looked at the draw, had a really good look at the draw, and just decided that the Roosters they had an extra game for starters, and then once Gutho was picked in that New South Wales team, it just sort of made it a no brainer. So anyway, that's the way that I went at the time. Look, Suoliti, I think is a great purchase this week. I think he's sitting at about 430 or something along those lines. I had a quick look today. There's a lot of people that are trading Joey Manu down to him banking 300K. Look, I understand the logic behind it. I'm not sold that that's necessarily the right way to go. I think you probably, I wouldn't be selling a Rooster to bring in a Rooster. I'm contemplating myself selling Sharks to bring in Roosters. I can go someone like a Talakai down to Suoliti, bank 200K. So I get that one. It's a bit of a tough question for me when you look at the draws, whether to go Roosters or whether to go Bunnies or a combination of both. So, look, it is a little bit tight. I know there's some forwards there that have been playing well. The Butcher brothers are always pretty handy to bring in. Both are relatively decent priced. Outside of that, maybe Lindsay Collins is a bit of a flyer. I think he was around about 500K.
He's actually one that I'm looking at this week because I don't have a back. I've only got so Toby Harris is on the bye, and I've got him at front row, and then I've got Moali and Palacia, and I don't really want to start Moali or Palacia, so I'm actually contemplating going Toby Harris down to Lindsay Collins, but I don't know yet. I'm just think trades are so important this time of the year that I just don't know whether I just take the hit with Palacia or I don't see how much more he's going to get me. Collins is going to get me over what Palacia might get me, even though he's coming off the bench. But I really like Egan Butch. He's another one I mentioned the other day as well. He's just flying at the moment too. So holds the spot again this week with Bradley going to lock. So I really like Egan Butcher as a buy this week as well.
And you can't go past any of the Roosters forwards when Victor Radley's named, because he's only going to play about half an hour before he's either suspended or broken. So you never know what you're going to get from Victor the Inflictor. The guy's a nut job, but great football player, complete nut job.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to the next game, which is God, this could be anything. This game, Tigers and the Bunnies. Tigers, Luke Brooks does come back, and Charlie Staines comes back into the team. Junior Tupu shifts to the centre, and Tommy Talau drops out. Sean Blower is back from injury, and makes his place on the bench. And obviously with Luke Brooks back, Will Smith drops back to the bench as well. For South, they get Latrell back. He's definitely going to be playing this week from what I've heard. Jai Harris shifts to the back from back row to prop. Joe Coast comes into the starting side, and Jed Cartwright replaces Tallis Duncan on the interchange bench. I am so scared to not only any South players this week, Timmy. This could be anything if South click after their pretty average performance last week against the Broncos, especially with the throwback.
Yeah, look, I agree, and this is the way I'm leaning this week with my trades. Arguably, maybe some sideways trades, but I think if I can. I don't know. The trades I'm looking at the moment, keeping things real, is actually Will Kennedy bringing Ponga down and then bringing Cody Walker in. And then my other one, probably Talakai down to AJ, which banks me about 100K or something thereabouts as well. So I've got money in the bank. Look, the hard part is I could bring in guys like To'o, who I think is still cheap comparison to some of the other guns that are out there. But it's really hard to go past that South draw if Latrell's back fit and firing.
The only thing I will say that for people who are looking to load up on South players, don't do it because they've still got to buy around 26, which will be your head-to-head finals as well. Or your grand final, is it? No, or not?
No, grand finals in round 25.
That's right. But if for overall players, just be careful with it. Head-to-head players, I don't think really matters. But I really like Latrell. I'm not bringing him in. I'm going to be test riding him to the end of the game. But yeah, look, it's a hard one. I mean, I've only got 3 trades left, and I've got to, use them with caution. So we'll see what happens. I really like AJ for this game. I think it's a great matchup. But in saying that, last time he did play the Tigers, they only won 20-0, and I think he only got about 40 points as well. I don't think he's a must-have, but he's got the ceiling in this game, definitely. So
I think he's just heavily undervalued too. Like the hardest part with AJ is if he doesn't score, he's not like a base beast. He's if he doesn't score, it's like 50 is a good score for him. Whereas guys like Toto, if he doesn't score, 75 is a decent score for Toto.
I think AJ, if you're going to bring him in, you need to be playing him on matchups because South do still have some tough games left. But in saying that, they play Sharks next week, who have been pretty average, especially down their left side. Which obviously won't affect him because he's on the other side. So
be up on Katoa.
Yeah. So
but so that was basically looking at the draw. That was my logic. Talakai to AJ and bank some cash, which will still leave me. I think it was with those two trades. I think I was still going to have about 130K in the bank. I was basically dollar for dollar, just about going Kennedy to Cody Walker and Talakai to AJ.
Look. Talakai's got to go. He's starting on the bench this week. God knows what sort of minutes he's going to play anyway. He's definitely a sell. So I like that trade. I sold Talakai last week to Toto, so I'm pretty happy with that one. So I'm not complaining about that. So, anyway, look, we'll see what happens. I think, like everyone else, like the other 60,000 owners, I think we're all hoping Munro was going to play this week because he could have had a big game here. But anyway, look.
And that's the hard part for that round 26 is I've got Munro in there. I think once he's back fit, I think he'll be named.
I think he'll be back in the team.
He's got to be named over Tane Milne, surely.
Definitely.
The only other one that I've got, so I've still got Stefano Urukamanu, and he's my only other available front rower this week, along with the horse. So with Tohu out and Sean Kepi named on the bench, I'm probably not going to worry about the front row and play horse and Big Steph.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bit of a killer, but he's been averaging pretty well lately, except for last week when 2 weeks ago when I also had to play him and played him for his 37.
But then you don't play him when he gets 70. So
and that's exactly right. Didn't play him last week. He got 69 or whatever the hell.
I guess the only other ones we should talk about this game is Cam Murray. For those who are looking at, if you look. If I had the trades, I would be doing the Cora to Cam Murray. Banks a lot of cash. Like I think the Cora is just over 700. Cam Murray's just over 500. Yeah, that's what I mean. So if I had the trades, that would have been a luxury trade to do and bank some cash. But with my trade situation I'm in, I don't think I could do it. I think for anyone who's got anyone up there that they can trade to Cam Murray is probably a good trade. So I really like Cam Murray this week.
I did that trade last week and was pretty happy.
Yeah.
I think when he's on, he's a 70, 80 point plus player.
Yeah. All right. Next game is the Storm versus the Eels. So for the Storm, Remus Smith's out with an injury. Justin Olam, I believe, has been dropped. It doesn't say he's injured. Nass is out injured with his finger, and replaced by Tom Itzerhout. And Tarek Sims surprisingly suspended again. Shocked me. But they do get Elise Katoa back from his eye injury, and Tyrone Wishart joins the bench. For the Eels, Andrew Davey replaces Sean Lane, who's out injured on the edge. And Joey Lussick, who they've just signed from St Helens, comes onto the bench this week. Now, I don't know what the go is with Arthur here, but why is Ryan Madison not getting a chance on this edge spot? Why do they keep persisting with him playing the middle? Off the bench, I don't understand.
Look, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. I didn't understand the purchase when they did, and I don't understand really Jake Arthur being in there.
I just don't see what Andrew Davey offers on that edge that what Ryan Madison wouldn't offer a lot more on that edge, as far as I'm concerned. But obviously, Arthur sees him more as a middle player than an edge player, though.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I think the Storm win this.
Mattering the player that he is.
Yeah.
If Matto is not the same player anymore.
Yeah. I think the Storm win this, but I don't think they win it convincingly. I'm concerned. They've got Seve and young Tonopio in the centres. Now, if the Eels can actually turn up and play some decent footy this week, they might be a chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll win. It's in Melbourne. I mean, Bellamy, I'm sure, ripped them a new one after they got done by Newcastle last week, and this is at home, so I don't think this is going to be an easy game for the Eels.
No, neither do I, mate. I think it's going to be a fairly tough one.
I think this is a good week to be trading in Cam Munster too. If you're looking for a 5'8", still cheap at 640k as well, Tim.
Yeah, look, I brought Munster in about a month ago and was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to the next game, which is the Raiders versus the Knights. So for the Raiders, there 1-17, no changes. Daniel Safidi's out, replaced by his brother Jacob. Brody Jones comes onto the bench. I'm sure there's a few players probably holding owned in this game, but the Raiders haven't forced Tarpany. And then for the Knights, you've got Callum Tonga, which I think, despite the fact that this is an away game in Canberra, I think he's a genuine VC option for this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think any fullback against the Raiders is worth a VC.
Anyone you like for this game to trade in? I guess it's a bit probably late to be bringing. I mean, I don't mind a couple of men. One of them I mentioned is probably Bradman Best, but he's probably a bit expensive now. And Tyrone Frizzell is the other one I really like too.
Yeah, I think you can take any of obviously KP if you haven't got him yet, although he's 850k now, so the ship has probably sailed. Look, any of the back line pretty much. Even Dom Young is a bit of a smoky. It seems to be scoring tries at will. So Marju Gagai is still pretty cheap. I think he's early 600s. So if you're looking for a bit of a pod play, I think he was less than 5%. I'm not 100% sure, but the last time I checked, he was somewhere around about there. Outside of that, for the Raiders, look, I think you really only want to look at the forward pack. You either Tapane or Horse, and that's probably all there really is at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Knights have got a good draw coming up too. I think they've got a handful of games at home in a row, so definitely worth jumping on some of those. Knights
I think we talked about it. I think we talked about it the other night. Is it four of the last five?
4 or 5 at home in a row or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I think Ponga's so glad I jumped on Ponga. I mean, he's been fantastic. So wish I'd have got on him earlier, but we always worry about the HIA with him as well.
Absolutely.
So, all right, next game is the Dragons versus Manly. For the Dragons, only the one change. So Moses and Boys off to Super League. And Connor, I'm not going to pronounce, I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Mulison will make his debut off the bench. I've got no idea who he is. And then for Manly, they've lost both their front rowers. So Palasi is gone, Aloe is gone. Matt Lodge and Sipley will start in the front row, and Ethan Bullymore joins the bench. And Daly Chair Evans' 300th game as well, lads.
Yeah, who was that?
Daly Cherry Evans, 300th
game. Yeah, sorry. Just cut out. Yeah, look, DCE.
You have to think the way that Manly played last week that they'll be too strong for Dragons in this one, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I'd if you've got him, sneaky VC or even a captain option on either of the halfbacks, I reckon, either DCE or Ben Hunt. I think both could have a big game in this.
Could be a sneaky VC for Garrick too in this game as well.
Yeah. I was going to say that Garrick and Lomax would be the two outside backs that I'll be looking at. That's for sure.
Yeah. I would. For those who are looking to jump on Lomax, I wouldn't be buying him this week. He can't keep going. I'm telling you, he might in this game, but that's probably as far as it's going to go. But
what do you reckon? Guy will put him in as his anytime try scorer this week then? Dragons fan.
It'll be the only league that we miss out on this week too. I think we'll just pass this game. There's no one to trade in, I don't think, for either of these two teams, so we'll just move on. Next game is the Panthers and the Sharks. For the Panthers, just the one change. Spencer Leanu's out with an injury, replaced by Matt Highsmith on the bench, and Targo still remains sidelined with that leg injury. For the Sharks, they lose. Dale Finnegan's gone for the season with a torn bicep. So Cameron McInnes starts at lock. He's an interesting one as well to keep an eye on, but I I don't know if I'd trade him in, but I really like him as an NRL player. And the other one is Jesse Cologwin, who just came into the team. He's out suspended, and Wade Graham comes into the edge spot there, which I hate badly as a Mulatalo owner.
Yeah.
I'm actually not playing Mulatalo this week. I'm actually going to leave him out, and that's if I don't trade him out this week. I'm having thoughts on trading him to AJ actually at the moment. Do you still own Mulatalo, Timmy?
Yeah, I've got him, but if I go Talakai to AJ, I'll actually be sitting Mulatalo this week.
Yeah. I think if you can leave him out of your 17 and don't have to play him, I would. Yeah, I wouldn't be playing him, especially against the Panthers.
I think at this stage I'll be captaining Cleary in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think Cleary's. I'm not trading in Cleary this week, but I'm actually more scared to not own him this week than what I did last week because he just eased his way back into that game last week, right? He was in cruise control and still's got 80 points or whatever he got. Whereas this week, he's running at that Sharks left edge with him, Critter, and To'o. I'm glad I own To'o in this one. But I've got a feeling Cleary could go like 150 this game, Tim. I'm scared to not. He's another one I'm scared not having this week.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I agree. And running at that weaker side for the Sharks, Jesus, I mean,
could be anything.
This game really could be anything. It's I think if you've got To'o, I think he's a good shout. This is the hard part. I can go To'o, but I'm spending an extra 100K than what I wanted to with AJ. So it sort of decreases the trade opportunities next week by not having some cash in the bank.
It does, but you're going to get the safety of To'o as well. He's going to punch you out of 60 at least without getting a try. So
it might be a case of looking at the last minute to see who's got the lower ownership, and I'll go To'o over AJ or vice versa, whoever's got the lowest ownership.
I actually like VC. I actually don't mind To'o as a VC shout this week either. For those who don't own Cleary, that is, of course. I mean, if I had Cleary, I'm definitely VCing Cleary, but I don't have him, so I don't mind To'o as a VC option in this game either, Tim.
Yeah. No, good shout. Absolutely, especially down that Sharks left edge.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to the next game, which is the Bulldogs versus the Dolphins. There's a lot to go through here, so let me just brief for a minute. So for the Dogs, Kikau's back playing his first game since round 4. They also get Josh Adokar back. Jake Preston's back after missing last week's game with illness. Braden Burns is back into the team. Toby Sexton comes back from concussion. And Kyle Flanagan and Corey Waddell go back to the bench. Jade Knockenball, after starting on the edge last week, is out of the team. And Ryan Barney will go back to hooker. And Paul Alamoti drops out as well, which I thought he wasn't too bad last week. He didn't have a bad game. For the Dolphins, Hammer goes back to fullback, which means that Cody Nikorima shifts to 5'8", Milford to the bench, and T. Fare starts to the centre. And oh my God, this this is killing me. JMK is playing this week. He's back after they saying he was going to be out for the season.
Surely that's a GR. Surely.
Harrison Graham is going to the reserves. Kennedy Bromwich starts at lock with Ray Stone out with a broken hand. And Jared Wallace is good to go after getting his shoulder charge downgraded last week and will come off the bench. That was a lot to go through there, Timmy. This game can go anyway. I've still got Hammer. I just have had other fish to fry previously, and I really like him at fullback in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Hammer's a really good shout for some decent Supercoach points in this game. I've still got Jermaine Asako, even though a lot of people were jumping off that ship last week. So he's at this stage, he's not in my 17, but he will more than likely come in. I think any team that plays against the Dogs, especially after the Dogs have got so many chops and changes this week, I think any of the outside backs for the Dolphins are probably a good shout. It's an interesting one that Nikorima's gone to 5'8" and Milford's been dropped to the bench. I could see that switching around on game day. Obviously, Cody Nikorima's offers more off the interchange in the fact that he can play a more wider range of positions rather than the Milfs. So, yeah, look, that's an interesting one, but we'll wait and see. I don't think there's too much to look at in the forward pack for really either team. Maybe Preston. What's he sitting at? Still about
I wouldn't be trading him in. I wouldn't be trading anyone in from either of these two games this week.
No, I don't mean as a trade-in. I just
Yeah.
mean if you've got him, I think he's probably a handy
What I
play.
do like the fact that Cody Nicarima is at 5'8", is that he will feed a lot more ball to Osako, which I really, really like that. There's two things that's going to happen with Nakora, in my opinion, when Milford comes on, is that either Nicarima goes to dummy half, or they put Milford at dummy half. Because with JMK coming back from an injury, I don't see him playing 80 minutes. I would say Milford will probably come on, and either Nicarima or he will go and play some hooker. So I wouldn't be concerned as an owner for Nicarima. I would. I'd still definitely play him in this game. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Surely
Yeah,
he goes to dummy half to like if JMK's named, I can't imagine with that shoulder and the issues that he's had, surely he's only playing half a game. At
yeah.
which point Nico obviously just slots straight in a dummy half and yeah, Milford coming at 5'8".
Alrighty, the last game of the round is the Queensland Derby. It's the Titans versus the Cowboys. For the Titans, Coach Joe Simpson comes back to the starting side, so Cleesas goes back to the bench. That's the only change for them. And for the Cowboys, Nanai's out 4 to 6 weeks with an AC joint injury. Kui Whanafiku, or however you want to pronounce it, will come into the starting side. And Sam McIntyre and Jermaine Taneo Brown join the bench. Taking place of Griffin Neme, who failed the HIA last round. I own Drinkwater, and I will be captaining him in this game. I think it's a no-brainer for me, not owning Cleary, to captain Drink in this game. For Feeder, I know there's a lot of people trading him in this week. I still would trade him in. I know he did only play 60 minutes last week, but they were getting dominated in that game. And it was always going to be a case of him playing reduced minutes. But I think this game he should go back to playing 80 again.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting call. He's while Tino's out, he's sort of the main attacking weapon that they've got in the forward pack. Well, him and obviously Big Mo Fodawaker. I think those boys are going to have a handful with the Cowboys forwards. It obviously does them a bit of a favour that Jeremiah Nanai is no longer playing and out for the season.
Well, 4 to 6 weeks, so yeah, we should be back for the finals.
Oh, there you go, final side. So yeah, look, I think for Feeder, if you've got him, I think he's a play. I don't think I'd be bringing him in this week though, and that was sort of why I want to keep some cash in the bank because I think he's I might bring him in after this game.
Yeah. I think he's still got a high break even too, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's have a look here quickly to see what he's looking at for his.
You've got him, haven't you?
I do have him. Yeah, I do. He's got his break even's over 100, so I'll probably wait a week. Might be a case of not even bringing him in at all and making priority somewhere else. When most people are probably sitting anywhere between 1 to 6 trades at the moment. I think it's a case of prioritising your trades, and I don't see him as being a priority trade in unless you've got cash sitting there and you've got someone in your second row that you want to upgrade.
That's right. Last week I had the opportunity to bring him in and took the Cam Murray at 450k or whatever and save a bucket load. I think they can both score pretty similar for the run home. Maybe
I don't know.
There's an argument where you could even say Murray will outscore him over the last 7 rounds.
I think Fafita's got a bit more upside. He's got a lot of attacking stats in him, but will he get them against some of these matchups that they've got left? That's the question because they're not easy matchups.
That's more what I was looking at, mate, the matchups. Yeah. I think Cam Murray's matchups are much easier over the last few rounds.
All right, let's have a quick look at the trade trends at the moment, and we'll see where we're sitting in regards to that. Just give me 1 second, and I'll get logged in, and we'll have a quick look at the trade in and trade out to Tim for this week. Okay. So, trading number 1, no surprises. Nathan Cleary. I think, we both agree on that one. It's a good trade in. Number 2 is late Latrell Mitchell. I like that trade in as well. Number 3, Reece Walsh. Yes and no. I'm not 100% convinced on this one. I think find extra cash if you can and go to Teddy instead. Thoughts on that one, Timmy?
Yeah, look, I think maybe just the tipping scale would be the Roosters draw is probably a little bit nicer than the Broncos one, but I don't know. Like Reece Walsh scored a try last week and got 2 assists as well. So
Yeah.
I think he's getting very heavily involved. And let's be honest, if my Bronx are going to play or go all the way in finals footy this year, they need him to be firing. So he's as long as he controls his temper and his aggravation to the referees, I think he'll be okay. Look, I'd probably, I don't know, this is one where I really tossed up selling Will Kennedy to Reece Walsh this week as well, and decided I'd go the Cody Walker route. But yeah, I think I'll probably just have Teddy in front, and that's purely just off draw.
Yeah, number 4's paying half. I think we both agree that's a good trading. Cam Murray's number 5, again, good trading. Number 6 is an interesting one. Dan Russell from Dragons. Now he started last week. Second row centre wing duel. Now, what I don't like about that is if he could turn into an A nightmare, Tim. They've got Jack Bird sitting on the bench. They've got Murdoch Minnesilla to come back into that team. Guys, if you want to just, if you're looking for a cash downgrade, don't go to him. Just go with Jewel Nuff. Don't go someone who's going to potentially be an A nightmare for the rest of the season. So number 7's Cam Murray. Yep, no problems at all. Like that trading. Number 8's Cody Walker again. Good trading. Number 9 is Horse, which I presume most people are probably going Taylor Harris to him. I like that trade. If I had the cash in, I had the trades, I'd probably do the same thing as well. And number 10 is Teddy, which we've already spoken about.
Yeah, look, there's not too many there that you can argue with. I totally agree in getting in the dual nuff, whether it be a front row forward, second row forward nuff, which is actually really handy with the amount of duels in the front row 2RF this year, or otherwise, yeah, go the second row centre wing nuff, and so you can move things around. But I mean, that's really only helpful if you've got others like Jack Bird, who I had for a while, Connolly Lemuelu I had for a while as well. And sold him just before he got his massive monster score, unfortunately. But them's the breaks.
Yep. All right, going to the trade out. Number 1 on the list is Taylor Harris. Again, it's a luxury trade as far as I'm concerned. You want to have the trades to be able to do this.
The one thing I will say though is his scores have been really down. I've got him. If I had 10 trades left, then maybe I'd look at doing something. But just bringing his scores up at the moment.
I think the biggest thing is he's got that knee injury lagging too, Tim, and also as well, they've got so many forwards back on deck now that he doesn't need to be playing more than like 50, 60 minutes now anyway. They're just going to ease him in for the finals. You've got Barnett there on the bench. You've got a whole stack of players covering. Like, they're so stacked up in the forwards that they don't need to be playing in big minutes anymore, which is obviously a concern as an owner. And I won't be playing him unless I have to play him. Probably be playing him every week. So
the problem with Tohu, like last week, he was caught just short of the try line, like literally millimeters. And he does that every week, and that's the hard part. If he manages to break an extra tackle there or get an extra half a stride of speed in, which obviously he's not as young as he used to be, but he does that every week. He's consistently tackled just short of the try line. So you add one of them in, all of a sudden it's a line break and a try in there, and start at 30, 40 points onto his scores, and he goes up through the roof.
Number 2 on the list, Nico Hines. We've spoken about this. I presume most people are actually going to Cleary. He's can you really trade out? Can you trade out a bloke who's averaging 100 this season, and you pumped out an 86 last week in a team that played absolutely ordinary? I think it's fixture proof, and I could not do it, Tim.
No, I think even if he has a rubbish game, he still scores 75. Yeah. So at which point that's not too far off a captain's score most weeks.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I know I was watching the Countdown chat, the podcast show earlier with Rob and Sangster. Rob's actually making the trade. He's actually going on Cleary. So geez, I'm probably just going to stick with SJ and Hines for the run home. I know it's going to be scary not owning Cleary, but I just think that both of them, or at least SJ, can average close to what Cleary's going to get with the draw they've got on the run home.
Completely agree.
The thing is, you've got to realise with SJ that they rely on him a lot for their attack. Whereas with the Panthers, they don't just rely on Cleary. They've got Luai. A lot of the attack went through Luai last week on that left side. This week will go predominantly to Cleary's side on the right. So yeah, yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan of it, but I was contemplating doing it, but I just can't. I can't do it. So anyway, number 3 on the list is Sean Johnson. Obviously people going to Cleary. I think we've spoken about this enough. I agree. I think SJ's a hold, but each to their own. I guess really at the end of the day.
I completely agree, mate. SJ's a hold. The only reason I did that last week was because of the rain, the weather forecast over in NZ. It was supposed to bucket down 30 mil during the game, so I decided to go Cleary instead of SJ. Otherwise, all week I was all over SJ for the trading out of the two.
Number 4 on the list is Tino. We won't speak much about him. He's suspended, gone. Number 5, Dream Buller. Oh God, I think people still trading him out. Like he's only 500k now, Tim. Like you want to have a lot of cash there somewhere, or a massive downgrade to enough. If you're gonna, I'm presuming people are trading him to maybe Walsh or Teddy, or it's a lot to go to Trell. It's a lot to go to Trell. It's like an extra 300k to go to Trell.
No, I think probably the opposite, mate. I think like a similar situation to where I'm in. I think they're probably selling Buller, maybe bringing KP down to fullback, and then looking at Cody.
Yeah, that's another option.
Or Munster.
Number 6 on the list is Jacob Preston. I think he's a sell now. I think he's done his job. Number 7 on the list is T Fare. I don't know if I'd be selling him this week, given that they're playing the Bulldogs, especially now he's starting, depending on obviously who you're potentially trading him to. Number 8 on the list, Gutherson. Tim, I don't even want to talk about this bloke. I was so close to holding him last week. And I traded him to Val, who got a 50, and he pumps out 115 after updates.
Now, I can imagine that one made you cry, mate.
It hurt because I was sitting there and I was out, and I'm like, okay, am I going to make the trade? I should have made the trade. What am I doing? Am I going? And by that stage, it was too late. I wanted to either go Walsh or Teddy, and they both already played, so I couldn't do anything about that. I wish I'd just held the trade, Tim, until at least this week anyway, because those points would have been very handy.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Anytime you can get a player that turns up, it's yeah.
Number 9 on the list is Reed Marnie. I think this is a good trade out. Who knows what they're doing with this Russian roulette, with their changing their hookers and stuff around. He's back starting this week, but I think he's definitely a sell. And number 10 on the list is Teague Wilton, who's obviously gone for the season. So he is a sell for sure.
It's surprising that he's even lasted this long. I think I sold him 2 rounds ago when he first got injured. It's the fact that enough people have still held him to make the top 10 traded out list.
And that is the TLT and trade trends for round 22. Timmy, so you obviously got a good idea on your trades for this week, have you? You're pretty much set with what you're doing?
Yeah, look, at this stage, I'm looking at trading out Will Kennedy, who's got a BE of 42. He had a big score last week, which was really painful because I didn't actually play him last week. Anyway, that's just the way that it goes. I still scored really well, but left a lot of points sitting on the bench. But at this stage, I'm looking at Will Kennedy to Cody Walker via Ponga, bringing Ponga down. So my fullbacks will be Ponga and Teddy. My 5/8 at that stage will be Cody Walker and Munster, and halves will be Cleary and Hines. Having Harry Grant up in 5/8, along with the super
Harry Grant in 5/8. Harry Grant in 5/8.
Sorry, up in hooker.
Wow.
Sorry, Harry up in.
That's you one.
Oh, stop it. Harry Grant up in hooker with the point scoring juggernaut that is Sonny Luke.
Yeah, well, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I just quickly had a quick look at whether I can trade Mulatalo to AJ, and I'm about 5k short. So if someone wants to lend me 5k, just send me a message or
kind of bloke that I am, mate. I'll spot you. I'll spot you that.
I'm
sure you'll be good for it next week. You'll give it back to me.
Spot me that, because there's not much else that I like there. I've only got 500k to spend, so
surely you'd go to Suoliti.
Oh God, I could do that.
If you're looking for a cheaper alternative,
I could do that. That's an option, but yeah, I don't hate that, but it might be something I might look at, because there's not really much else there. I really did want AJ, but.
And then even better, it banks you about 85k or something like that. It'll be.
No, not really. It'll bank me It'll only bank me 20K.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Mulatalo's only like 450K now.
Of
He's
course,
dropped
of
a
course,
shit
of
ton of
course.
cash. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's it. I don't know yet. I need to sort out what I'm going to do. I've got some time to think about it. I'm not too keen on making two trades and only leaving one, but I'm pretty happy with my team otherwise. So maybe I just need to bite the bullet and do two this week and keep one as an emergency trade for if something goes wrong. So
How are you looking for your head-to-heads? Are you in cash comps or are you?
yeah, my cash comp. This is the thing too that my cash comp that I'm in, I have to win this week. Like I'm literally sitting in ninth spot and I
Mm.
have to win it. And the bloke that I'm playing is actually coming second, so it's going to be a bloody hard one. Like it's
You've got to, you've
yeah,
got you've got to go a pod route, mate. You've
I
got to
got
go
I
a
got
pod
I
route to
got to
win
go
that one.
hard for I got to go hard for this one. And I'm having a look at the bloke's team that he's got, and he has a pretty solid team, so I might be in a bit of trouble this week, unfortunately. So
See, I'm the other way. I'm my two cash comps. I'm in first in one and second in the other. Now, one of the two actually has a minor premiers, and I think it's worth about $150 cash.
yeah.
So I'm probably going to look more towards that one with my trade-ins and look at some decent pods for this week.
Well, I'm in ten leagues, and only one of them I'm not in the top eight, which is the Podmaster season 4. And the other one on the cashier, I'm in ninth, and then the other ones I'm pretty much locked in to get a final spot in all of them. So,
It's it,
um,
it's an
yeah,
interesting game, isn't it? It makes things so different. Like going through all of my leagues, I think I'm in the top 8 for overall points in all of them, and I think I'm only that's out of 10 leagues, and I think I'm only in the top 8 as far as head-to-heads go in maybe half of them. I think most of no, I don't even think half. I think 6 out of the 10. I think I'm sitting in sort of mid to late teens.
yeah. All right. Well, that's it for round 22 team list and preview as well for the round. Thanks, Timmy, for jumping on.
Absolutely.
Sunday night we'll be back for our round wrap for round 22, and we will have be joined by guest Kyle London, who's currently sitting around about 700 at the moment, having a stellar season. Had him on before, and it's good to have him on again. So until then, we'll catch you guys on Sunday night, and good luck for the round.
Yeah, fantastic, guys. Thanks for listening and
Cheers.
stay safe and be good.